Hey friends, welcome to the Angie Ambrosetti Show. Let her out to play. I'm Angie, your host, a teenage mom turned multi-six-figure earner, married to the same man for nearly 40 years. I'm a homeschooling mom of 7 and totally unqualified, at least on paper, but wildly called by God. Remember, He doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Here, we are going to talk about it all. Healing from the hard stuff, building a business with heart, raising a big family, walking in faith, and finally breaking free from the lies that said we weren't enough. So if you're ready to stop playing small, shake off the doubt and the shame, and step fully into who you were created to be, girl, you are in the right place. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Angie Ambrosetti Show. I am beyond excited about my guest for today. I have my friend Jessica Hoogendoorn, and I'm just going to be super honest with you. When I first met her several years ago, I was super intimidated by her. It was like, oh my gosh, she's a doctor. She's so amazing. She's so smart, all these things, because so many people had told me all these amazing things about her. And I was like, I want to be in her space. I want to know more about her and pick her brain. So over the past couple of years, we have been in a mastermind together and we have gotten to be really great friends. We've been roommates, and we share a lot of inside secrets that I'm not going to share with you here today, but we've had a really great time getting to know each other. We have a lot of fun. And so I want to introduce to you my friend, Jessica Hoogendoorn. She is a dynamic wellness educator. She's an entrepreneur, and she is founder of Eat to Live, a luxury healing focused skincare and wellness brand built on the belief that what goes on our bodies should be as pure as what goes into them. With over 2 decades of experience in gut health, natural healing, and functional nutrition, she blends science with soul, making complex topics relatable. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Complex topics relatable and actionable. Drawing from her own family's healing journey and the thousands of others that she has helped, Jessica creates products and resources that empower women to reclaim their health and thrive. And I can attest to that. I love her products. Her mission is clear, that she wants to help women reclaim their health and confidence, proving that true success begins with wellness. So, welcome to the show today, my friend.
I am so excited to be here. Gosh, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you, Angie. I
You are so
echo so
welcome.
much of how much fun we have had together and gotten to know each other, and one of my best ever roomies.
Yes. Hey, listen, I will take that compliment. We do have such a fun time together. And, maybe I'm laying there with the eye mask and the lip mask on. So I can't see or hear or speak. And she's probably glad that I'm not speaking or snoring or anything like that. But we've had a lot of fun laughs, my friend.
We do. We sure
Yeah.
do.
Well, I would love for you to just talk to us, educate us, tell us how you got started in this health and wellness journey that you've been on for so many years.
Sure. Well, I think that we all do life and we do experiences and we create from our life's experiences, our what we've walked through, what we've overcame, what we've learned in the process. And so my process did involve a child that had cancer. And the same child and our second child were severely burned into making a maple syrup. We made maple syrup and a brick broke and the boiling sap went over both of them. So severe burns and cancer. And that taught me a lot of things that you only learn, I guess you could say, in the trenches when you're fighting for your children's lives on multiple levels. You are looking for answers and you are researching and you're digging and you're contacting everybody you know and you're finding what works and what doesn't. And then 8 years later, my mom had skin cancer, and that was another digging for answers. And so through all that, I think is where I had some of the biggest aha moments and some of the biggest learning journeys. And I took that into my practice, incorporating everything I learned and working with thousands of people over the last 20 years of um, just seeing, what works. And when you work with such a diversity of people, you just see patterns and you see what brings results and you
Mhm.
see how the body works and how amazingly we're made. And so that is a big part of what went into and what goes into everything I make, create, and help.
I love that. I love that. And so, I didn't know the story about your children's burns until just recently. And gosh, I 100% believe that the Lord put you in my life for so many reasons. But not that long ago, we had a grandson have a burn. And then my husband had an even worse burn recently. And just having your input and your knowledge of what to do, because I think typically most people, well, this is what happens with me. I don't know about most people, but when something happens, like, I have all these great books at home, and I have, been in the natural space for, the better part of 25 years, but it's like we panic
Yeah.
as soon as something happens. We forget everything, at least I do.
Yeah.
You find that to be true with most people?
Yeah, it is true. And I think that's why we all have to have our person or our people in our circle, because like when my children were burned, there was people I reached out to, and we had actually someone come to the hospital to train us how to treat burns naturally, and we had to train the whole burn and trauma ward how to treat burns naturally. It was a total God story. I mean, it's like the surface of it. But they're the people in your life that you reach for, and I think it's so valuable of who you surround yourself with and the places that you are walking in with people, because like you say, when you need someone for whatever it is or they need you, it's beautiful to have that community.
Yeah, yeah, for
100%.
sure. And like I said, for several years, I mean, for over 25 years, I've had be your own doctor, be your own
Yeah.
child's pediatrician, backyard pharmacy. And I've gone through those for years. As a matter of fact, kind of a funny story. When my daughters or daughter-in-laws, when they, married my sons or whatever, I bought them all a be your own, or maybe it was when they were having children, be your own pediatrician or whatever, your child's
Yes.
pediatrician.
Yes.
And one of my daughter-in-laws actually threw it in the trash. She's like, your mom is crazy. I'm not going to be my child's pediatrician. I'm not going to do this natural stuff like your mom. Now she's 100% hook, line, and sinker in. But recently I said to her, I'm like, well, get out your be your child's pediatrician book. And she admitted to me, she's been married to my son
Oh
for 10
my
years.
gosh.
She said, I have to admit I threw that in the trash. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
what? You're going to have to buy your own this time, sister, because I'm not buying it for you again. But yeah, my kids, even my kids who are in my pharmacist's son or my doctor's son, they will call me and say, hey, mom, can you get your medicine book out? Because it's like we kind of forget, even, doctors or whatever. Like they need the support, like you're saying. They
Yep.
need someone else to say, it's going to be okay. Let's try this first.
Yeah. Oh, so much so. Yeah. And the more that you have those natural remedies and the more that they become a part of your kids' life, even if sometimes you wonder, like, did they get it or how much did they get? It's amazing when you see them reaching for things and like my son with his girlfriend and my daughter, they're used to reaching for natural remedies, and that I think is beautiful because it's what people use for thousands of years. There's a place for the medical, there's a
Hmm.
place for the natural. And the goal that I had when I was fighting cancer on different levels and burns is I realized the power of you want the strongest and the best when you are facing life and death. But
Yeah.
what about if that level of excellence could be the strongest and the best in everything that you create? And that was always my mantra. So when I was making herbal tinctures, I made them as strong as possible because I wanted people to feel and to have the results that I was desperate for when I was reaching for
Hmm.
them. And so that has gone into everything, and all that I've created was I want it to be potent. And kind of my line was I want it to talk back to you in the best
Yeah.
sort of way and for you to experience it. And so I think in life we all take the experiences that we walk through and we live
Hmm.
life through that lens.
Yeah. Wow, that is a good way of saying it, because it is so true. Like, that's
Yeah.
exactly how we you know, each and every day, no matter what pops up. And like I was mentioning about my grandson, it was about 2 weeks after he had had a burn that my husband had a severe burn, like way worse. Praise the Lord. My husband even said, he's like, I am so glad that my burn was so much worse than my grandson's, because here, a little guy, we don't want
Oh,
that to happen. But
no,
just
no.
knowing some of those natural remedies. And I don't know if we talked about this or not, but I know we talked about a little bit of it, but we had gone to an Amish community and they recommended the very first thing is to put flour on a burn because it pulls the heat out.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah.
heard that before?
Yeah, and they're learning more and more, like even from the time that we used the natural burn remedies and the burn
Mhm.
salve and the burdock leaves and all that. They've actually been upgrading their practices a lot because we lived right across the road from one of the burn people that people would bring someone who's burned to the community with. And we were just talking to him not long ago, and he was saying how they've tweaked the protocols more and more. So flour has been since us. But yeah, we talked to some of the people we have a place in Michigan, actually, one or two places that the medical community will actually refer them to the Amish for burns because of the results that they've seen with it. So it
Mm,
truly is amazing.
yeah. Well, I don't use flour very often because, as you know, I eat a carnivore diet most of the
Right.
time, but I do have some flour and I keep it in the freezer because we
There you
just don't
go.
use it very often. I want to keep it. So when my husband got burned, that was the very first thing that we pulled out and it was in the freezer. So it even made it more
Cooler.
cool, you know. And so he was like, wow. Cause at first he was like, what in the world are you doing? I'm like, this is what we have to do. And it did help, but he
Yeah.
said it was one of the most painful things that he's
Oh, I won't wish it on anybody. No,
and
our
so I
children were 6 and 4. So
mm,
yeah, it was a nightmare.
wow, I can't imagine what that would be like for them and for you as a mom.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't go there too often in my head. It's
Yeah.
something that you learn from, and
Mhm.
it took so much of what I learned in that season and
Yeah.
incorporated it because she was in the harshest part of her treatment for cancer the week prior. So it was a season, but man oh man, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I have learned I've taken what I learned in that season, and it's been a blessing to so many. Like I would never choose to learn it, but I believe that God can take our place of pain and make it our place of reign, in the sense of what you learned can be your level of where you speak from, or your authority, or where you can turn around and bless others. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's so funny that you're saying that because I'm feeling some emotion come over me right now. And I had done a podcast about infidelity in our marriage. And as what you're saying, it's reminding me of something that I have said over the years is that this specific season in our life when I was unfaithful, um, years later, and even now, I can look back and say, I would never want to go through it again. I
Mhm.
don't wish it on anyone,
Mhm.
but I'm thankful for what the Lord used that opportunity in my life for giving me an opportunity now to help others. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't change it, so to speak. Like, don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
Oh,
It was a
absolutely.
terrible time, but I'm thankful that what God taught me through it and where it brought my marriage
Yeah. Yeah.
because of that situation.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's not like when you're in it, you can't even imagine, like all you can think of is, Lord, get me through this.
Yeah.
But when you can turn around, you can give yourself the grace and the time to heal, and you can extract from it everything that you learned, the
Yeah.
good that you learned.
Mhm.
I can't remember the saying, but it's, our calling is never about us. No, I can't. I don't even want to try to think how it goes, but it's basically like what we learned is never as much for us as it is for the people that we're
Mhm.
called to. And so I totally understand that in a different scenario.
It's kinda like what we heard at a line this year. I think it was Cheryl Wood that said, "Our story is about us, but it's not for us."
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is so true. Like,
Hmm.
that story is it's all about me, but it's really for someone else the lessons that I've learned for them to learn and glean. And as I'm coaching clients now to be able to help them through those difficult times because
Yeah.
of what I've gone through. And the same for you as what you're doing as your, kids have gone through some really severe health issues with the burns and with your daughter having cancer. And now you being able to help so many other people
Yeah.
is such a blessing from the Lord.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And
Mm,
that's hindsight's 2020. And so it's sometimes it's a challenge to me is to look at the current circumstances and okay, what are we learning as hard as it may be? What are we learning? What can we take from this that we can put into where we're going? And so it's just a reminder that when you're in it, it's like the verse in the Bible that says joy comes in the morning. There's seasons, and seasons don't last forever. And there is going to be joy. But can we have
mm,
joy? I did a post the other day that says, on earth as it is in heaven. So on heaven, there's already breakthrough. On earth, I am just here walking and carrying that breakthrough into the current circumstance, but it's already done in heaven. And so if we can have joy in the circumstances that we're in right now, knowing that there's everything that we're going through, that we've gone through, he's already died for, he's already gotten the victory. So we're just walking that out on earth. Then we can have joy. Not that the seasons, like not that I felt joy in the burns, but I can have that peace and joy in him, knowing, that he's there and that this is not going to last forever and we are going to get through this. And what can I learn? And so it's a lot of growth. That's for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. Whew. Yeah, growing pains, right?
Yes, they're real.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about I don't even know what the right terminology is, but how you became a naturopath.
So I was actually in school for a naturopath. I always loved natural healing. My mom sold supplements. She did massages. Both of my sisters did massages, adjustments. It's kind of always been a part of our life. And so I was actually in school to be a naturalist and an herbalist and going for my naturopath or did I already have it at that point? I was in school. And so I've always loved it. And so when we first got married, I just enrolled in to become an herbalist in the School of Natural Healing to start with and made herbal tinctures. And it was crazy, but a formula that I made initially for the kids, I took to a clinic and they tested it and they loved it so much. They started ordering and utilizing it in their practice. And it kind of just, it took off into there. And I had a business, an herbal business for years, and I made tinctures and salves and loved it. And I just kept upgrading my certification because I love all things health. And so that's where I got several different degrees in healing it started out to be an herbalist and it just continued to grow. And then, when you're in that realm, people come to you for questions and they come to you for answers and come to you with questions for answers. And so it kind of just grew from there. And so I had a business for years selling herbal tinctures, salves, and things like that, doing consultations. I did bioenergetic testing for 10 years. And then when the kids were burned, and we were dealing with cancer. I had a 3-week-old baby, and that was right over the recession. And my husband got a call while we were in the burn and trauma unit that the company he was working for went bankrupt.
Mm,
So we had 2 burn children, one with cancer, a new baby, and we didn't have work. And we didn't have work for a year. And so we were wrapping burns every 12 hours and 2 children around it. And Tori was burned from above her chest to below her knee. So it took hours to wrap her and then wrap our son who was burned from the waist down. And so during that season, then I actually went back to work from my home and Dan would watch the children while I had clients. It was kind of like this given, this working together. And so that was a really big season of just tremendous growth, but also it was such a blessing to fall back on. So it was what we had built up prior to this. And so that's kind of a long answer, but it's something I've always been fascinated with. And I praise God for that because the oncologist told us in all his years of treating pediatric cancer, he'd never seen a cancer patient like her because she didn't have a single symptom. Her hair didn't fall out until we took her off some of the supplements because she wanted to be bald. She was never, no blood transfusions. She was never hospitalized except for the burns. And so he told me, he said, I can't say this officially, but whatever you do, don't ever stop, because she's living proof of of natural healing, like working. And so that I look at that as a blessing of knowing that, and wanting to impart those tips and those tools to other moms and to other women to utilize this, utilize whatever it is that, natural healing and remedies and preventative. I think that's what made me so passionate about prevention and education, was what we lived through.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always love the story about the bees. And so would you share the story? Because I think it's good to educate people. Um, I don't remember exactly what you were there for or why you were surrounded by the bees, but it reminds me of the lesson that you tell about the bees. So would you tell my listeners
Okay, you're
about
gonna
the
have to
bees?
extract the lessons, because I'm not sure what lesson you're referring to. But so part of my schooling, we had to go. Well, we this was to kind of have to get liability insurance in some aspects of it. So I'm not gonna go into all the details there,
Okay.
but we had to go. Part of the process was we went to the top of a mountain somewhere in Utah. I don't even remember where it was. And a friend of mine who was also a practitioner going for this certification. And we had to spend several days on top of a mountain doing a sweat lodge and doing a lot of different practices, learning healing practices. And one of them, we were sitting under a tarp on top of a mountain, and we're sitting in a group of us, and there a literal like swarm of bees. They were just flying all around us, like just crazy. And they made sure we didn't have any like anaphylactic, bee problems. But they said, this is something that you need to learn, nervous system, controlling your breathing, everything. And they made us sit there and just teach our body how to relax under stress, because they say bees are attracted to the frequencies. And if you have a frequency of complete calm and complete peace, and you're not flailing around and you're just like this, bees are not going to bite you. And my friend was almost hyperventilating, but both of us just had sat there and learned to calm our breathing and learned to calm our nervous system. And we did not get a single bite. And when I'm telling you there were bees everywhere, there was bees everywhere. And that was actually something I have carried into so many situations of when you want to panic and you want to your everything inside of you is like wanting to run or to scream, is to just take that deep and let it go.
Mm.
And so we sat there and we were swarmed by bees and never got a single bite.
Well, so I 100% guarantee that everyone who just heard that, they know what the lesson is. But I'm just going to reiterate, it's
Yes,
calming the nervous system
calming the nervous
and
system.
not having a freak attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just did a reel on this, is that the 4-7-8 breathing. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 6, and you release it for 8. And that actually forces the nervous system into calming. Like you can't actually hyperventilate when you're counting in your head. And so it
Mm.
takes it basically out of your head, and you're focusing on counting, focusing on holding. And breathing in shorter than you're breathing out is actually a proven nervous system relaxation. So I tell you, when you have a whole raft of bees swarming your head, your body, just everywhere, and you have zero protection, you you either learn to breathe or you get bit.
I
So
bet. So
yeah,
it's making me think about mouth taping. Do you mouth tape?
I don't actually. No, I
Okay.
don't.
So as you're talking about this, and I've thought about this several times whenever I've heard you tell this story in the past, that's kind of how it was when I first got started with mouth taping at night. Is that I had to really like, because when you sleep, you do breathe differently. Like
Right.
you get calmed down and your breathing is different. And
Yes.
so when I first started mouth taping, I wanted to panic because I'm like, oh, and there's a little slit in it anyway. So it's not
Right.
like I'm like suffocating myself. But I had done a lot of research about it and I was like, I'm just going to give this a try. I really want my husband to do it because he snores a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But I was not a snorer, but I was a mouth breather. And so, your mouth gets dry, everything in your, like, it just completely dries you out. So when I first started
Right.
it, I would be like, am I going to be able to breathe? Like, how's this going to work? But now I've been doing it for at least 4 years, I think 3 to 4 years. And I just put it on. I can still even walk around my bedroom, like, and I'm just not going to talk, right? Because my mouth's taped up.
Right.
But the breathing is so much more relaxed. And, I'm breathing through my nose, getting more
Right.
oxygen to the brain, not waking up with, dry mouth or whatever. And so it just always makes me think about that
Yeah.
um, whenever you talk about that. And also, I will throw this plug in there is that I use Respiralex, which is one of your products. I put that in my nostrils every night before I go to bed. It helps just clean out the whole passages,
Yes,
especially
it
as
does.
I'm mouth taping.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it. I was looking this morning because sometimes I do it in the morning too. And I'm like, I think I need to order some more of that.
There you go. I'll have to try the mouth taping. Yeah, I've heard about it, read about it. It's just there's so many there's a lot of things that I like to get done in a day. And from when you start into this health journey, there's they have so many funny memes about it. But yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, and I've got another question here for you. So, what can you tell us about I'm going to call it, the bedroom luxury line because as you know, it is one of my favorite things and my husband's favorite things too. I'll just throw that in. So tell our audience a little bit about that. What can you tell us about that?
I will tell you about it, but I would love to hear what you like about it first.
Okay. Well, so for those of you who don't know, it's oils and it's all edible, number one. So we're gonna we'll try not to get too graphic on this,
Yes.
but for those of you females who are listening, which probably is most of my audience, I don't know, but it is a very lubricating and for the female areas. And like I said, it's edible. So there's that.
Yes.
But it's very stimulating as well. And so it has just been one of those um, pieces that we have added into our private time that has been very beneficial and satisfying for us.
Yeah. I love hearing that. Well, again, you think of what you experience and where you operate from. And so in different seasons of life, how I started Eat to Live was literally um, moms coming to me saying, what can I use for a sunscreen? And I woke up from a dream and I can still see where I was laying in bed. And I had rolled over to my husband's side of the bed and I opened my eyes and I'm like, all these ingredients are going through my head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be used for a sunscreen. And they were ingredients that I had used for healing burns, for helping my mom heal skin cancer as after like putting it on her skin. For they were deeply healing, but they were also cell regenerating. So they would technically be anti-aging and they were so healing for the body. It's things that you would want soaking into your body.
Mhm.
And so that's how I started with the sunscreen. And I made a counterpart, Eden's Glow, now that was for after sun, all to heal sun because of these conversations of people that I had coming to me looking for answers. And that started Eat to Live and our luxury towel line. So a couple months later, I was starting to have a lot of women in this season of perimenopause, menopause that were struggling with dryness and microtearing and pain with intimacy. Yeah, and all the things that the burning and bleeding after and the microtears and all these things. And they were like, is there anything that I can do to like that we can use? And so what a lot of women were using was KY jelly, which is petroleum, or they were using coconut oil. I'm about all things coconut oil. Like we go through a gallon, I don't even know. We go through it like so incredibly fast. However, when you the vaginal microbiome is a very specific group of microbiome, not a lot of them, and they have to be very in balance because of their vaginal microbiome actually affects your hormones. It affects your entire female reproductive system. It affects almost every aspect of us as women. And so the coconut oil that so many women were using was actually disrupting the microbiome. And what they noticed over time, and a lot of people didn't even correlate the two, was that it was actually starting to cause issues because it
Mm-hmm.
disrupted that balance. And whenever you have the disruption of balance, you can have a whole host of different vaginal issues. And so I brought actually my idea to the mastermind. I said, ladies, what do you think about if I would create a formula that would not just be safe and edible, because we should not put anything in our body that's not edible, for intimacy, but it would actually help to heal all these issues that women deal with vaginally, the microtearing, the bleeding, the burning, and it would create that. You want that tissue to be elasticity and to have elasticity and to be supple and to be soft and to have moisture. And they were all like, yes. Long story short, so I started experimenting, and that's when I defined that there's dry oils and there's lubricating oils, and there's oils that will stay lubricating for a while, and some that get sticky and some that don't. It was an amazing learning experience, but it came from women coming to me saying, and it just was like in a surge, and it's actually been life changing. And I have had so many stories of women whose entire bedroom life changed. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually have a lot of women that aren't even sexually active, but they have a lot of these same issues and pain. And so they're just self-applying to help heal. And so there's so many ways that you can use it. But that's where it started, and it has been amazing. I've had people tell me that what laser and all the different treatments that they've tried didn't touch this formula
Mm.
actually help them heal.
Yeah. Well, I'll just be a little bit vulnerable here and say I was one of those coconut oil users. And I thought, hey, this is so good for everything. This has to be the answer.
Yeah.
And it actually made things worse. And it wasn't until you and I had a conversation a couple years ago that you brought that to my attention that that could be making it worse because it actually
Yeah.
did get worse. Because we're
Yeah.
just thinking, oh, it's lubricant and it's going to help, with the dryness and the itching and everything. And it actually did make things worse. So I'm so
Yeah.
thankful to have, been educated on that because, you don't know what you don't know until you know, right?
Right. Yeah. Coconut oil is very antibacterial, and you want bacteria there. You just want the right bacteria there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Huh.
very microbiome friendly. And this, I'm not saying this in a weird way. It's actually a very moisturizing, good facial oil aside
Mhm.
from that. Like it's so many, there's so many benefits and healing benefits of that oil that are just amazing.
Yeah. I love it. Well, of course, I even have bought some for friends and I'm like, hey, so everyone is very satisfied thus far. So yay for
There you
that.
go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. And as far as the tallow, like before I knew you, I was actually using tallow and it was before I actually became carnivore, which people, that's always a whole nother issue. But, I hear people say sometimes, oh my gosh, what in the world would you use like tallow, like animal fat on your skin or whatever? But it is so moisturizing and so lovely.
It is. Yeah, it's actually one of the closest skins to our skin. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
closest oils to our skin, sorry. And so it's rich in vitamins A, D, E, and K, and so many other ingredients that are help our skin to regenerate, that
Mm-hmm.
moisturize down to the deepest level. So some oils sit on top of your skin, some can go, different levels. But the beautiful thing about tallow is our body recognizes it in because it's so similar in so many ways, and so it'll moisturize down to the deepest level, so you'll notice the plumpness of your skin and the moisturization of your skin, and literally anti-aging when you're giving your body vitamins A, D, E, and K, and it's soaking into your bloodstream and into your body and into your skin. It's vitamins to the body. And so when you're
Mm-hmm.
using tallow on your skin, you are putting vitamins and nutrients directly into your body, and your skin knows what to do. And that's why you often will tell people's skin that are using it, it's just beautiful, but it's also so healing. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't clog the pores, so it's good on, I would say, basically any skin type. And so yeah, I think the results so much speak for themselves. But I tell people you can put on your kids and it's like putting vitamins into your kids.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing.
Have you heard anything about, I've only heard a couple people mention this at all, but have you heard anything about people using tallow to brush their teeth?
I have not, but you know what? People use coconut oil. I've done that before, and fat, can grab a hold of junk. So I'm not, yeah. Have you done
Yeah.
it?
No, but I know I haven't yet, but it's on my radar. I'm like, oh, I haven't done this yet, but I should try
There
it.
you go. Yeah.
Well,
That's
because
interesting.
the microbiome of the mouth, like I've actually heard several people, doctors and different things that I'm, following or whatever on Instagram or social media, talk about brushing your teeth with water and not even using toothpaste.
Yeah, absolutely. That I do. Yeah. I am very careful what I put in my mouth because your microbiome of your mouth is going to determine a lot the microbiome of the rest of your body and
Hmm.
what you can fight off and the health of your mouth and the health of your teeth. So never fluoride. Like
Yeah.
it's just I cannot say that enough how dangerous fluoride is. And you think about how the skin under your tongue is so like they put nitroglycerin tablets and that's the quickest way into the bloodstream. If
Yeah.
you're doing fluoride, which is a neurotoxin and it's
Mhm.
carcinogenic directly into your mouth and how absorbent your mouth is, that is so dangerous. And so, yes, you don't want anything that disrupts the microbiome of the mouth. But what did people do for centuries? A lot too. I know teeth brushing was not a big thing a lot in a lot of cultures, but there was people, and they
Mhm.
would just that's what you use. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I don't put. I try to be very careful what I put on my what I use to brush my teeth.
Hmm. I never even thought. Now, I've done, I've gone for a week at least without using toothpaste and just brush my teeth with water. And nobody thought anything. I mean, nobody knew, but it's not like my husband's like, oh,
Right,
your teeth don't look clean or breath or anything like
right,
that. And
right.
not a fan of fluoride either. But I hadn't really thought about what you just said about how they put the nitroglycerin tablet under your tongue or any kind of um what are they called, like a little trochee of some sort that you put
Yeah,
in your tongue and it dissolves and it does get into your bloodstream so quickly
right,
that way.
right. Oh, it does. And that's one of the fastest ways into the bloodstream. And so that's why I tell people like seriously, if you're gonna your toothpaste, there should be nothing in it that's going to disrupt your oral microbiome. And so it's kind of it's a new level of awareness. Plus, when they talk about don't swallow the
Yeah.
toothpaste and it could be fatal. I mean, seriously, why are we putting
Yeah.
it on teeth and kids? And so, yeah, I'm a big proponent of what careful with your toothpaste.
Hmm. So I'm sure that when my husband goes back and listens to this, he's going to be like, oh my gosh, now my wife is going to get me to stop using toothpaste.
No, not stop using toothpaste. Just be careful
Yeah.
what toothpaste
Yeah.
you use, and just have it, yeah. So definitely fluoride free. That's a big one.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, friend, this has been so great today. What else would you like to share with our audience? Is there anything else that you would like to talk about before we hop off our call today? Because I value your time so much and I know you're
Uh,
super busy.
Thank you so much. I'm just plugging my computer in here. Well, really, one of the things that I tell moms, it's a new, I mean, it's not new, but I think the more that I've dove into, creating Eat to Live and the products that I do is as moms, we can use our bodies, our children's bodies as conduit for nutrients. And what we put on our skin should be more important than what we put in our mouth. Because when we eat something, our body has a filtration process, the liver, the kidneys, the digestive system, everything. We have multiple filters. What we put on our skin, there is no filter. And so it's directly into our bloodstream. So as mamas, that can be a scary thing if we're thinking like what can we use for lotions or all the different things, but I want to flip it and look at it as a positive thing. So very often, like I had my grandbaby over here this weekend, and every time I change his diaper I put a little bit of the kids or Sprelux on his feet and up around on his chest because those oils soaking in are nutrients for him. I
Hmm.
rub him down with tallow at every diaper change, just a little bit, put him on. Number one, he smells amazing, but I'm putting all the vitamins and essential oils and the jojoba and the olive oil that we mix in, and I'm using his body as a conduit for nutrients. We can do the same for us as adults is what we're putting on our skin, if we think of women every day, morning and night, I have a skin routine. I'm sure you do, Angie. What if morning and night we were putting into our skin everything that brings life to our bodies,
Mm.
and we were massaging in, I have the Stillness and Silk massage oil. I did a video on those. I used essential oils that were very good for the nervous system in there. So it's a very grounding nervous system, sensual smelling, beautiful, anti-aging blend of oils, and we're using our skin as a conduit for good. And so I guess the line that I would say, if you're not going to put it in your mouth, don't put it on your skin.
Mm, that's good.
Yeah.
And in a world where um, most things have so many ingredients, and most of them we can't even pronounce.
Yeah. It's true. They say that the average woman, I think, puts over, I think it's 160, but let's just say 100 chemicals on their body on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to. There's so many good alternatives. And I guess that was my heart, when you fought cancer, and I have with multiple family members. You don't go crazy, you don't panic, you don't fear, but you're very aware of ways that you can not feed into that, and ways that you
Mm.
can be aware of what you use, what you eat, what you put on your body, because it's so much easier to live a life as clean as we can. We still live in the world, we still have fun, like you and I know. We'll still go out to eat here and there, but it's just being aware of better alternatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it's funny that you say that, because like I'm thinking, we call it fun, because that's
Right.
just the world that we live in, but we're like, okay. And
Yeah.
sometimes like my kids will come over, and like one of my sons just had a birthday. And so I made him, well, he wanted a cookie cake, and the cookie place is closed. And I was like, oh, yay, I don't have to get him a cookie cake. But then I ended up making him little cookies. We put ice cream in the middle. I made little sandwiches. And I'm like, in my mind, and this is just how my mind works. I'm like, okay, well, it's a treat for him. That's what he wants. But I'm like, I don't want him eating this, but he's going to do it anyways. But, it's
Yeah.
just one of those things we have to like try to get some sort of balance. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love everything that you shared today. And I was going to say, what's your biggest tip? But the biggest tip really you gave, like if you're not going to put it in your mouth, you shouldn't put it on your skin.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It's a big deal. And the more that I research this, the more that I realize how we don't, how the message that is sent to young people, especially with all the fragrances and everything, and disrupting hormones, and how damaging that is. And then I look at little babies, and their skin is, I think, 30% more absorbent. And I'm like, let's not put things on our babies that smell good. That smell good for babies is actually a chemical scent. It's not a clean scent, it's chemicals. Let's just be aware, but more than that, let's pass on a generation of awareness, not by one out of fear, but one out of fun. let's
Yeah.
do let's do skincare with our girlies, that is fun as they're growing up, but that's clean, and just raise that awareness, because I really feel like the beauty of the internet is that there is an awareness being raised
Mm.
of the era before us, that so many chemicals are coming into. We can be the era that just continue to dismiss them out, but offer amazing alternatives that are clean and luxurious.
Yes. I love that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for all of your amazing wisdom and goodness that you shared with us today. And I'm going to put this in the show notes, but would you just tell our audience if they want to connect with you, or they want to look at your amazing line of luxurious oils? It just makes me all giddy inside to think about. How can they find you?
Sure. Well, Jessica Hoogendoorn, and she'll spell my last name it's double O both times, on Facebook, and Instagram is Jessica Hoogendoorn _ND for naturopath. And then our website is www.eat2live.life. Eat to live
Awesome.
life.
Yay. All
Thank you,
right, friend. Well,
Angie.
thank you so much again. And like I said, I will put everything in the show notes so that my audience can find you, and they're going to love you just as much as I do, my friend.
Feelings mutual. Thank
Yes.
you.
All right, girl. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And guys, listen, check out the show notes and get in touch. Check out this website, and you are going to be glad you did. And if you have a significant other, so is he. All right, guys, we will see you next time on the Angie Ambrosetti Show. Thanks so much for being here today. Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
That's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in with me today. I hope today's episode stirred your soul, sparked your faith, and reminded you that your story is far from over. Keep walking in freedom, keep showing up bold, and never forget, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Be sure to leave a review, subscribe, or share this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it as well. Until next time, keep letting her out to play because the world needs your fire.